Hey Reddit, I'm writing this because I honestly don't know what to do anymore. I'm beyond lost, and I really need some perspective. If you've been through something like this, I could use your advice. My name is Tom, and I've been married to my wife, Sarah, for 7 years. Our marriage has been great, or at least that's what I thought. We have a comfortable life, no kids yet, but we've been talking about starting a family soon. We live in a nice neighborhood, and both of us have pretty demanding careers. Sarah works as a project manager for a marketing firm, and I'm a software engineer, so we both work long hours. Lately, though, I've been feeling like something's off. I don't know if I'm just being paranoid, but Sarah's been acting different. She's been staying late at work more often, and when she comes home, she's distant. I'm not talking about the "I'm tired" kind of distant. It's more like she's not really there with me, if that makes sense. We used to spend every evening together, talking, watching TV, enjoying each other's company. Lately, it feels like I'm just a roommate. I didn't think too much of it at first. People get busy, right? But then it started to get worse. I noticed she started spending a lot more time on her phone, always texting or chatting, and whenever I asked who she was talking to, she would say it was just work stuff or a friend. But I've known Sarah long enough to recognize when something feels off. The body language, the way she would avoid eye contact when she mentioned certain things, it all started to make me suspicious. I didn't want to jump to conclusions. I trusted her. I love her, and we've been through a lot together. But something was nagging at me, and I couldn't shake it. One night, I came home from work a little earlier than usual, around 9 p.m. Sarah was already home, sitting on the couch with a glass of wine, watching TV. But when she saw me walk in, she immediately closed her laptop and quickly got up to greet me. It was subtle, but it didn't feel right. It was as if she didn't want me to see what she had been working on. I tried to shake it off and sat down beside her. We chatted for a bit, but the whole time, I could tell she wasn't fully present. She seemed distracted, checking her phone every few minutes. Now, here's where things took a strange turn. After about 30 minutes of us sitting in silence, she suddenly said she had to run out to grab some things from the store. She'd forgotten to pick up a few things earlier that day. I wasn't buying it, but I didn't want to press her. It was late, and I didn't want to start an argument. She left, and I tried to focus on my work, but my mind kept going back to how weird everything had been lately. I decided to go for a walk to clear my head. As I stepped out of the front door, something caught my eye. A car was parked across the street, but it was the middle of the night, and no one else in our neighborhood ever parked there. I looked closer. It was a silver sedan, one I didn't recognize. I could barely see the license plate, but I did manage to spot the silhouette of the driver through the window. It was a man. I don't know why, but my heart sank. That's when I had a bad feeling. I don't know how to explain it, but everything in me told me this wasn't just some random car parked there. I waited for a moment, but the car didn't move. In fact, after a few minutes, I saw the lights go off. And then, out of nowhere, I saw Sarah walking toward the car. I couldn't believe it. She was getting into the car with this guy. I was frozen in place, unsure of what I should do. I wanted to run over and confront her, but I didn't know how I would handle it. I felt like my entire body was in shock. My wife, the woman I trusted more than anyone, was sneaking around behind my back. As I stood there, watching them drive away, all I could think was, who the hell is that? What was going on? I'd seen her with another man, and she was clearly hiding something from me. After seeing Sarah get into that car, I didn't know what to do. I felt numb, like I was watching someone else's life unfold in front of me. Part of me wanted to run after her, demand answers, but I was frozen in place. I just stood there, watching them drive away, unable to process what I had just seen. The car seemed to vanish down the street, but my mind couldn't let go of the image of Sarah walking toward it. I stood there for what felt like an eternity, unable to move, unable to breathe. My heart was pounding in my chest, and my hands were shaking. I never thought this would happen. Never in a million years did I think Sarah, my wife, the woman I loved, would betray me like this. But the reality of it hit me hard in that moment. Eventually, I pulled myself together and went back inside the house. My mind was racing, replaying everything that had just happened. I kept asking myself, how long has this been going on? Who is this man? Why is she doing this to me? I didn't know how I was supposed to process any of it, but I knew one thing for sure. I couldn't just let it go. I needed answers. I sat on the couch, trying to calm myself down, but the door opened a few minutes later. Sarah was back. She didn't look like she'd been out for long, and she seemed surprised to see me still sitting there, waiting. "Hey, you're still up," she said, trying to sound casual. I thought you'd be asleep by now. My heart sank. How could she stand there, acting so normal, when I had just seen her getting into a car with another man? I stood up, not able to keep it in anymore. Sarah, where were you just now? I asked, my voice shaking with a mix of anger and confusion. She looked at me, her face instantly falling. I could tell something was wrong, but she still tried to cover it up. What do you mean? She asked, her eyes avoiding mine. I was just at the store. I didn't say anything at first, just staring at her, trying to keep my cool. But I couldn't hold it in anymore. I saw you, I said, my voice low but firm. I saw you get into a car with someone. You lied to me, Sarah. You said you were going to the store, but you weren't. You were with another man. Her eyes widened, and I saw the panic set in. She froze, and for a moment, we just stood there, staring at each other. I wanted to scream, to demand all the answers, but I held back, waiting for her to speak. I didn't want you to find out like this, Sarah finally said, her voice trembling. I was going to tell you. She stopped herself, as though trying to find the right words, but I wasn't having it. No, I interrupted, my anger rising. You don't get to lie to me like this. How long has this been going on, Sarah? How long have you been seeing him? And don't you dare tell me it's nothing. I saw the way you two were together. What the hell is going on? She broke down then, sobbing uncontrollably. I'm so sorry, Tom, she cried, wiping away her tears. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. It just happened. Don't you dare say that, I said, my voice sharp. You don't just have an affair. You don't just hurt the person you promised to love forever. You chose this, Sarah. You chose to lie to me. You chose to betray me. I'm so sorry, she repeated, barely able to speak through her tears. I didn't mean to hurt you. It was a mistake. It wasn't about you. It was about me. I don't know what happened, but I know it was wrong. I love you, Tom. I love you, and I've messed everything up. I stood there, feeling like I was suffocating, feeling like my entire world had been ripped apart. The woman I had trusted the most, the woman I thought was my partner, had been lying to me. It wasn't just a one-time mistake. It was a secret relationship that she had been hiding from me. I couldn't wrap my mind around it. Who is he, Sarah? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Her face crumpled even further, and she struggled to answer. His name is Jason, she said through tears. He's someone I met through work. It was never supposed to go this far, but I got caught up in it, and I didn't know how to stop. I felt sick to my stomach. Jason. The name burned in my brain, like it was a permanent scar. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. All of my trust, all of my love for her, felt like it had been thrown away for someone else. Someone who wasn't even me. I don't know what to say, Sarah, I said, my voice cracking. I don't know if I can even look at you the same way again. How do we come back from this? She just cried harder, shaking her head. Please, Tom, please don't leave me. I'll do anything. I'll fix this. I swear, I'll fix it. The days following the confrontation were some of the most painful of my life. I didn't know what to do. On one hand, I wanted to just walk away from it all, to leave Sarah behind and never look back. But on the other hand, I still loved her. I kept telling myself that I couldn't just throw away everything we had based on one mistake, but how could I ever trust her again? How could I ever look at her the same way knowing what she had done behind my back? Sarah tried everything she could think of to make things right. She sent me countless texts and called me repeatedly, begging me to talk to her, begging for a second chance. She told me that she loved me, that she had made a huge mistake, and that it would never happen again. She promised me that Jason meant nothing to her, that it was just a temporary lapse in judgment. She swore that she still wanted to be with me. But as much as I wanted to believe her, I couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. Every time I saw her, every time I heard her voice, I was reminded of what she had done. The trust that had been the foundation of our relationship was shattered. The image of her with him kept flashing in my mind. The thought of her sneaking around behind my back, lying to me for so long, made my stomach churn. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know if I was capable of forgiving her. I didn't know if it was even possible to rebuild what we had. Could I really trust her again? Could I look past the lies, the deceit, and the pain? The weight of the situation was overwhelming, and I couldn't do it alone. I called my best friend, James, who had known me for years. He was the kind of friend who didn't sugarcoat things, the kind of friend who told you what you needed to hear, not just what you wanted to hear. I needed that right now. We met at a bar in town, one of the few places I could escape to. James was already there, nursing a beer when I walked in. He looked up as I approached, giving me a look of concern. You all right, man? he asked, his voice gentle but direct. I don't know, I replied, sitting down next to him. I'm really lost right now. Lost? He asked, raising an eyebrow. You're married, Tom. You can't be lost. What's going on? I sighed and ran my hand through my hair. It's Sarah. She's been having an affair. With someone from her work. I don't know what to do, man. I love her. I really do. But I don't know if I can get past this. I don't know if I can ever trust her again. James took a long gulp of his beer, thinking carefully. Listen, man, I know this is tough. But you've got to ask yourself, can you ever look at her the same way again? Can you really forgive her? And if you do, how are you going to move forward? Is this something you can just forget? I looked down at the table, my mind racing. I didn't know how to answer his question. I didn't know if I could forgive her. Part of me wanted to believe that we could go back to the way things were, but another part of me was scared. What if I was making a mistake? What if I took her back, only to be hurt again? James leaned forward, his tone more serious. I'm not saying you should give up, but I'm saying you need to be honest with yourself. You're not going to fix this overnight. If you decide to stay, it's going to take work on both of your parts. And if you decide to walk away, you have to do it knowing that it's the right choice for you. I nodded, still unsure. I don't know if I can get over it. I don't know if I can get past the lies. Every time I look at her, I see him. James gave me a reassuring look. That's normal. It's going to take time. But the first step is deciding what you want, what's best for you. And if you decide that staying isn't worth it, then you need to be okay with walking away. You can't keep torturing yourself with this. It's not fair to either of you. I spent the next few days reflecting on what James said. I couldn't shake the pain of what I had seen, but I also knew that I couldn't keep torturing myself. I needed to decide. Either I walked away, or I tried to rebuild with Sarah. But I couldn't keep living in this state of uncertainty. I came home that evening, and Sarah was there waiting for me. Her eyes were swollen from crying, and she looked exhausted. But there was still a flicker of hope in her eyes when she saw me walk in. Tom, she whispered, standing up. Please, I know I've hurt you. I've made a huge mistake, and I'm so sorry. I'll do anything to make it right. Just please give me a chance. I looked at her, and for the first time in days, I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel hate. I just felt sad. I wasn't sure what the future held for us, but I knew one thing. I couldn't keep living like this. I needed to make a decision for my own peace of mind. Sarah, I said, my voice steady but heavy with emotion. I don't know if I can forgive you for this. I don't know if I can ever trust you again. But I'm not ready to give up yet. I need time to think. And I need you to understand that this isn't something we can fix overnight. I need to know that you're committed to fixing this too. But I'm not sure where that will lead. She nodded, her tears falling freely. I'll do whatever it takes, Tom. I'll wait. I'll be here. I love you, and I will prove to you that I can be the woman you deserve. The days after the conversation were slow. Sarah did everything she could to show me she was serious about repairing our relationship. She would leave her phone out, leave the door open when she was on a call, and was constantly apologizing for what had happened. But as much as she tried, I felt this wall between us, one that I didn't know how to break down. I couldn't help but feel betrayed every time I looked at her. The hardest part was the silence. We'd be in the same room, sitting at the dinner table or watching TV, and yet it felt like we were miles apart. It wasn't just the affair, it was everything that had led up to it. The way she had distanced herself from me, the way I had failed to notice the signs. I wasn't innocent in this. I had my own flaws, my own mistakes. I hadn't been the husband I should have been either, and I couldn't ignore that. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling of her lying to me, the betrayal that sat heavily in my chest every time she smiled at me. Every time she told me she loved me, I couldn't help but wonder if it was true, or if it was just something she said because she thought that was what I wanted to hear. Every time she was on her phone, I found myself wondering if she was texting Jason again. I tried to push these thoughts away, but they lingered in the back of my mind, growing louder with every passing day. One evening, we were sitting on the couch together, but it felt more like we were roommates than a married couple. I had barely spoken to her that day. The house was quiet, and I could tell Sarah was trying to find the right moment to say something, but she didn't know what to say either. She had been walking on eggshells, and I couldn't blame her. I had been distant, cold, and unapproachable. I couldn't help it. I was still angry, still hurt, and I didn't know how to let go of the feelings that were consuming me. I finally spoke, my voice quiet but filled with frustration. Sarah, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I don't know if I can keep pretending like everything's fine when it's not. I don't know if I can trust you again. She looked at me, her eyes wide with fear, and I could see the tears starting to form in her eyes. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. I wasn't sure if she was going to apologize again, or if she was finally going to tell me the truth about what was going on in her mind, but I was done with the silence. "I'm so tired of feeling like this," I said, my voice breaking slightly. "I'm tired of questioning everything. I'm tired of wondering if I'm the last person you think about, if I'm just the guy who comes home after a long day while you're out there with someone else. I'm tired of trying to act like I'm okay when I'm not." Sarah's face crumpled, and she started crying. "I don't want to lose you, Tom," she whispered, barely able to speak through the sobs. "I know I've hurt you in ways I can't undo, but I swear to you, I love you. I don't want anyone else. I don't want this to be over." I looked at her for a long moment, trying to process what I was feeling. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe that she was telling me the truth, that she was genuinely sorry. But the reality was, I didn't know if I could ever get past the hurt. The anger still simmered under the surface, and every time I thought about her with Jason, it felt like I was being torn apart all over again. "I don't know what to do, Sarah," I said, shaking my head. "I don't know if I can trust you again. I don't know if I can ever forgive you. I'm trying, but it's hard." After that conversation, things didn't improve immediately. If anything, they got worse before they got better. We tried to talk more, we tried to go on dates, we tried to reconnect, but there was always this tension between us. It wasn't like before, when we could talk for hours about anything and everything. Now, it felt like we were both just going through the motions, pretending that things could go back to normal when they never could. I started to feel like I was losing myself. I was caught between my love for Sarah and the weight of everything that had happened. Part of me still wanted to be with her. Part of me still wanted to believe that we could fix this, that we could heal. But the other part of me was scared. Scared of being hurt again. Scared of living in this constant state of uncertainty. Scared of never being able to trust her again. I spent a lot of time thinking about what I wanted, and after weeks of struggling with myself, I came to a conclusion. I couldn't keep doing this. I couldn't keep living in this painful limbo, where every day felt like a battle between what I wanted and what I needed. I needed to make a choice. One evening, as we sat down for dinner, I told Sarah what I had been thinking. "Sarah," I said quietly, "I can't keep doing this. I can't keep living like this. I don't know if I can forgive you, and I don't know if I can trust you again. And I don't think it's fair to either of us to keep pretending like everything's fine when it's not. I think we need some time apart." She looked at me, her face filled with shock and sorrow. "Tom, please. Don't do this. I swear. I'm trying. I'm trying to show you that I can be better, that I can fix this. Please don't leave me." But I knew that if we stayed in this constant state of uncertainty, we would both continue to be unhappy. I needed space to think. We both did. "I'm not leaving forever," I said, my voice soft but firm. "I just need some time to figure out what's next. I need to be sure about what I want. And right now, I don't know what that is." The days after I told Sarah I needed space were some of the hardest I've ever had to face. We agreed to take a break, but I wasn't sure what that meant for us. I didn't know if we were heading toward reconciliation or if this was the beginning of the end. I stayed at a friend's house for a few days, just trying to get away from the place that had once felt like home. It felt like everything in our life together had been tainted by her affair, and I wasn't sure if I could ever look at it the same way again. My mind was constantly racing. One minute, I would think maybe we could fix this, maybe we could rebuild, and the next, I would be overwhelmed by the thought of all the lies and secrets she had kept from me. I kept asking myself, what if I never trust her again? What if I forgive her, and I'm just setting myself up to be hurt again? I couldn't answer those questions, and it made everything feel so much worse. I didn't want to live in doubt, but that was all I could do right now. Wait. I didn't hear from Sarah for the first few days. I knew she was probably giving me the space I needed, but it still felt strange. I missed her. I missed our life. But I also couldn't ignore the nagging feeling in the back of my mind. Could we ever really go back to the way we were? Could I ever fully forgive her for what she had done? Then, on the fourth day, I got a text from Sarah. It was short, but the words hit me hard. It read, "I love you, and I'm so sorry. Please call me when you're ready. I'm here, and I'll always be here waiting for you." The text left me feeling a mix of emotions. Part of me wanted to text her back immediately, to tell her that I missed her too and that we could try to work things out. But another part of me, one that I couldn't ignore, felt a cold knot in my stomach. I didn't know if I was ready to forgive her, and I wasn't sure if I ever would be. I decided to wait. I wasn't sure what I was waiting for, but I knew that I couldn't rush into a decision without giving myself the time to truly think. I couldn't just let my emotions take over and make a choice that I would regret. This was my life, my future, and I had to be sure that whatever path I chose was the right one for me. The following week, I reached out to a therapist. I had been trying to handle everything on my own, but I realized I needed professional help. I needed someone who could help me process everything and give me clarity. I didn't want to keep pushing down my feelings or pretending like everything would just magically get better. I needed guidance. I scheduled an appointment for that Friday. It was my first time seeing a therapist, and I didn't really know what to expect. But from the moment I walked into the office, I knew it was the right decision. The therapist, a woman named Dr. Taylor, was kind and patient, and she didn't push me to talk about anything I wasn't ready to. I spent the next hour talking about my relationship with Sarah, about the affair, and about the pain I was feeling. I told her about the conflicting emotions, my love for Sarah, the anger, the heartbreak, and the constant questioning of whether I could ever rebuild trust. Dr. Taylor didn't offer easy solutions, but she did give me some perspective. "You're going through a major life event, Tom," she said, "and it's natural to feel overwhelmed. The questions you're asking yourself, can I trust her again? Can I forgive her? Those are big, life-changing questions. And you don't have to have the answers right now. What you're feeling is valid, and you need to give yourself the time to process it. Don't rush into any decisions. Take the time you need to decide what's best for you." It was comforting to hear someone say that it was okay to not have all the answers. I was so used to trying to fix things, to make decisions quickly, but I realized that this wasn't something I could rush. The healing process wasn't something I could control. It was something that had to unfold on its own. After that session, I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I was still confused, still uncertain about what the future held, but I felt like I had the space I needed to think. And then, that evening, I got another text from Sarah. This one was different. "I've been doing a lot of thinking, Tom. I want to make things right. I want to meet and talk. I need you to know that I love you, and I'm not going anywhere. Please, let me show you I can be the person you deserve." I stared at the message for a long time, my fingers hovering over the screen. This time, I didn't hesitate. I called her. "Sarah," I said when she answered, my voice heavy with emotion. "I'm not sure where we go from here, but I think we need to talk. Let's meet tomorrow." She agreed, and we made plans to meet at a park near our house. I didn't know what to expect from this conversation, but I knew it was time. I had to face the reality of our situation. It wasn't going to be easy, and I knew there were still a lot of questions that needed to be answered. But maybe this was the first step, talking openly and honestly, without any more lies or secrets. The morning of our meeting, I woke up feeling both nervous and resigned. I didn't know what to expect, but I knew that it had to happen. I had been avoiding the conversation with Sarah for long enough, and though I wasn't sure what I wanted from it, I knew I had to confront the situation. We both needed closure, or at least some clarity. I arrived at the park early. It was quiet, peaceful, and I found a bench by the lake to sit and wait. The weather was beautiful, but it didn't help calm my nerves. I kept replaying everything in my head. Was I ready to forgive her? Was I ready to give her a second chance? Could I ever trust her again? The questions swirled, but I had no answers yet. All I knew was that this meeting was the turning point, the next step in deciding what my future was going to look like. When Sarah showed up, she looked just as nervous as I felt. She was dressed casually, but she didn't look like herself. There was a heaviness in her posture, a sadness that I hadn't seen before. For a moment, I almost felt bad for her. I knew how much this was affecting her too, but the hurt I was feeling wasn't something I could easily overlook. It wasn't just a simple mistake. This was betrayal. She sat down next to me on the bench, and we both stared out at the lake, neither of us knowing what to say at first. It felt like an eternity of silence before she spoke, her voice barely a whisper. "I'm so sorry, Tom," she said, her eyes glistening with tears. "I know I've destroyed your trust, and I can never take back what I did. I don't expect forgiveness, but I want you to know that I am deeply, deeply sorry for how I hurt you." Her words were familiar, the same apologies she'd given me over text and on the phone. But hearing her say them face to face felt different. There was sincerity in her voice, but I couldn't tell if it was enough. "I don't know if I can ever forgive you, Sarah," I said quietly. "I don't know if I can ever look at you the same way. Every time I think about what happened, I feel like I'm losing myself. I trusted you. You were my wife. And you betrayed that." She nodded, tears falling freely now. "I don't know how to fix it, Tom. I don't know if I can ever make up for what I did, but I'm willing to spend the rest of my life trying if that's what it takes. I love you. I never meant to hurt you. I don't even know what I was thinking when I got involved with Jason, but I swear, I regret it every day. I looked at her, my heart aching. I could see the remorse in her eyes, but it didn't change the fact that she had been with another man. It didn't change the fact that everything we had built was now shattered. I had to admit to myself that, no matter how much I loved her, it would take a lot more than words for me to trust her again. I don't know if I can live with the doubt, Sarah, I said, my voice breaking. I don't know if I can ever feel safe in this relationship again. Every time I think about us moving forward, all I see is the betrayal. The lies. She reached for my hand, her grip tight. I understand, Tom. I really do. And I'm not asking you to make a decision now. I just want you to know that I'm committed to fixing this. I'll do anything. Anything at all. Please, give me the chance to show you I'm not that person anymore. I sat there, looking at her, torn between my love for her and the part of me that was terrified of being hurt again. Could I really move on from this? Could I ever trust her again? I wasn't sure. But at that moment, I knew I couldn't make this decision alone. I needed time. I need more time, I said quietly. I can't decide anything right now. I need to think. But I'm not ready to just give up on us. Not yet. After that conversation, things didn't magically get better. We didn't instantly fix everything. Sarah gave me the space I needed, but the silence between us felt suffocating. I spent the next few days thinking, processing, trying to figure out what I truly wanted. I was still in love with her, but I wasn't sure if that was enough. Could I live with the constant doubt? Could I rebuild a future with her after everything that had happened? I called my therapist again, seeking guidance on how to navigate the emotional roller coaster I was going through. Dr. Taylor was patient with me, offering insight into the healing process. She reminded me that trust wasn't something that could be rushed or fixed quickly. It was going to take time, and I had to be okay with the fact that there would be no clear-cut answers right away. As the days passed, Sarah kept her distance, giving me the space I asked for, but also checking in, letting me know she was there when I was ready. She wasn't pushy, but I could feel her longing to make things right. The problem was, I wasn't sure if I could ever move past the betrayal. I wasn't sure if I could ever fully trust her again. One evening, about a week after our meeting, I texted Sarah, "Can we talk tonight?" She immediately replied, "Of course. I'll be here." We agreed to meet at the same park. I wasn't sure what I was going to say, but I knew that I couldn't keep dragging this on. I needed to make a decision. I needed to figure out if I could forgive her and move forward, or if I was better off walking away. The days leading up to our second meeting felt like an emotional battle. I spent so much time thinking, trying to navigate the whirlwind of emotions that had been brewing inside me. I would wake up in the morning feeling like maybe I could forgive Sarah, that maybe we could rebuild, but by the evening, the anger and the betrayal would settle in. Every time I saw her, I couldn't stop remembering the man she had been with, the secret life she had been hiding from me. By the time the day of our meeting arrived, I felt physically exhausted. The emotional toll of it all had taken a serious hit on my mental state. I had spent so much time grappling with my feelings of love, hurt, and confusion. My gut was telling me I wasn't ready, that I couldn't trust her again, but my heart was still in love with her. When we met at the park that evening, the weather was unusually cold for that time of year, but neither of us seemed to notice. I could tell that Sarah had been crying again. Her eyes were red and swollen, and the bags beneath them were heavy with exhaustion. She looked at me with such vulnerability, and I knew she was hanging onto the sliver of hope I had given her. I didn't want to hurt her again, but I couldn't keep dragging this out. "I've been thinking a lot, Sarah," I began, my voice hoarse. "I've been asking myself if I can forgive you, if I can get past this. And the truth is, I don't know. I love you, but I don't know if I can ever feel the same way about you again." She closed her eyes, as if bracing herself for the worst. She had been anticipating this, I could tell, but the pain in her face was still palpable. "I understand," she whispered. "I knew it might come to this. I just wanted to show you that I was serious about changing, that I'm not the same person I was when I made that mistake. I will do whatever it takes to earn your trust back, Tom. I'm not asking for forgiveness now. I'm asking for the chance to prove to you that I can be the person you deserve." I paused for a moment, letting her words sink in. I had wanted to believe her so badly. I wanted to believe that she had changed, that we could move past this. But every part of me still screamed that it wasn't enough, that the wound she had created would never heal. "I don't know if I can do that, Sarah," I said, my voice breaking. "I'm not sure I can ever trust you again. And if I can't trust you, how can we keep going? She nodded slowly, understanding the weight of my words. I know. I know I've hurt you in ways I can't fix. And if you can't find it in your heart to forgive me, I understand. But I need you to know that I love you. I'll always love you. It was the hardest thing I had ever done, but I knew what I had to say next. I don't think I can forgive you, Sarah, I said quietly, the words feeling like they were ripping through me. I don't think I can trust you again. And I'm not sure I can keep living like this, with the doubt constantly hanging over us. I don't want to drag you through this any longer. I think it's time we part ways. Her face crumpled in pain, and she looked like she had been physically struck. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. She just nodded, tears spilling down her cheeks. I'm so sorry, she said, barely audible. I never meant to hurt you. I never thought I'd lose you. The days that followed were some of the hardest I had ever faced. After our final conversation, I moved out of the apartment and into a small rental. I knew it was the right decision, but it didn't make it any easier. Letting go of someone you thought you'd spend your life with isn't something that happens overnight. It's painful. It's a process of grieving not just the person you lost, but also the future you had imagined together. Sarah and I didn't speak much after that. She reached out a few times, sent me a couple of texts, but I didn't reply. I knew she was still hurting, but I had to be firm in my decision. For my own peace of mind, I needed to let go of the past and focus on moving forward. I couldn't keep living in the shadow of what had happened. It wasn't easy. Some nights, I would lie awake thinking about her, about what could have been. But with each passing day, I felt a little stronger. I started focusing more on myself, on what I wanted from life. I started taking up old hobbies I had neglected and reconnecting with friends I hadn't seen in a while. Slowly but surely, I began to heal. Eventually, I realized that it wasn't about Sarah anymore. It wasn't about fixing what was broken. It was about me. About finding my own peace, my own happiness, without being dragged down by the weight of betrayal. And even though I still loved her, I knew deep down that I was making the right choice. Months passed. Sarah reached out a couple more times, but I didn't feel the same way. I had started to rebuild my life, piece by piece, and I knew that I had made the right decision. It hurt, but I was moving on, and that was something I couldn't deny.